Hello students, today we are going to learn Roman numerals. As we have already discussed that there are different letters in Roman numerals which are used for numbers. So let's see what are those again. I is used for 1, V is used for 5, X is used for 10, L is used for 50, C is used for 100, D is used for 500 and M is used for thousands. And various combinations of all these letters are used to make different numbers. Now there are 4 rules which we have to follow when we are making a Roman numbers. Let's see the rules. So the first fact is that there is no symbol for 0 in Roman numerals. In our decimal system, we have 0 which makes the number system very easy. But they don't have 0 as a number, so they have different rules to write the numbers. So the first rule is when a Roman numeral is repeated more than once, we add its values each time to get the number. Now let's see the example. So I is repeated 3 times over here. So value of I is added 3 times. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 will become 3. So I is nothing but 3. X 2 times x means we have to add the values 2 times. 10 plus 10 will become 20. Now there are 2 conditions. The same symbol is not repeated more than 3 times together. That means I cannot repeat I 4 times. That means I cannot beyond this 3. One more condition is the symbol V, L and D are never repeated. That means I, that is 1, X, that is 10, C, that is 100 and M, that is 1000 can only be repeated, and that too maximum 3 times. It cannot be repeated more than thrice. Whereas V, that is 5, L, that is 50 and D will never be repeated. So that was the rule number 1. Now rule number 2. If we are not repeating any Roman numerals, so it's common sense that one of them would be bigger and one would be smaller. So we just have to see the position of the smaller Roman numeral. If the smaller one is on the right hand side of the greater Roman numeral, then the value of both the numerals will be added. Let's see the example. Vi. We know that the value of V is 5 and the value of I is 1. So since I has the smaller value than the V and it is on the right hand side, we'll be adding both the values and we'll get this Roman numeral as 6. Again, I is smaller than X. That is why X would be added into 1, that is 10 plus 1. Again I is added, so plus 1, that will become 12. Now X, VI. So this is following the first rule then, that if the numerals are repeated, we'll have to add, that is 10 plus 10 plus 10. Now after X, V is coming, that means smaller one is coming on the right hand side. So I'll be adding into that, that will be plus 5. Again I is coming after this V, that is 1 is coming after the 5, that means I'll have to add again. So the value will be 10 plus 10 plus 5 plus 1 will become 37. Now rule number 3. If the smaller numeral is on the left hand side, so it is always subtracted from the value of the greater numeral. Let's see the example. IV. We know that the value of I is 1 and the value of V is 5. So I will be subtracted from V, that is 5 minus 1, which equals to 4. That means IV in Roman numeral is nothing but 4. IX. So I is smaller than this X, that means it has to be subtracted from X. So x minus I, that is 10 minus 1, will become 9. So if the smaller one is coming on the left hand side, we'll be subtracting. That is IV is the example, that is 4. IX is the example, that is 9. Smaller numeral on the right hand side. So it will be VI, that is 5 plus 1 will become 6. XI, that is 10 plus 1 will become 11. Now the fourth rule, if the smaller one is coming in between of the greater two Roman numerals, then what you have to do? Then you have to subtract the value of the smaller one from the right hand side, and then the remaining will be added. If you see over here, I is coming between these two x's. So I'll be first taking this I and x together and will subtract this I from this x, that is 10 minus 1. This x will be added to this only. So my Roman numeral will become 10 plus 9, which is 19. So XIX is nothing but 19. XXIV. So this I is coming between this X and then this V. So what is this Roman numeral? I just have to subtract first this I from this V, that is I have to subtract this 1 from this 5. It will become 4 and I have to add these two x's, that is 10 plus 10. So this Roman numeral is nothing but 24. So we have learnt all those 4 rules. Now we'll see how the Roman numerals are written. If you see over here, 1 is written as I, which is the basic Roman numeral. If I want to write 2 times I, so this is 2. 3 times I will become 3. Now I cannot repeat the Roman numeral more than thrice. So to make the 4, we already have 5 and we have rule number 3, which is subtraction rule. So we'll be putting I, that is 1, before 5 and we'll be subtracting it. So 4 is nothing but IV. 5 is V. 6 is VI. This is rule number 2. Smaller one is added because it is on the right hand side. Then 5 plus 1 will become 7. VII. Then VIII will be adding the values, will get 8. Again, we cannot repeat these I 4 times and make it 9. So that's why we are going to use the third rule, that is subtraction rule. So we'll be putting I before x and it will become 9. Because we are going to subtract this I from this x, that is 10 minus 1 will become 9. Then we have x as 10. 11 we know that it is 10 plus 1. 10 plus 2 is 12. 10 plus 3 is 13. 10 plus 4, we already know now the value of 4, to 14. 10 plus 5, 15. 10 plus 6, 16. 10 plus 7, 17. 18, 19 and 20. Now if you see over here, 14 and 19 are following rule number 4. That is, I is coming in between two greater number, or smaller one is coming between two greater number. So the value will be subtracted first from the right hand side and then all the values will be added. So XIV will become 14. XIX will become 19. So 1 in Roman numeral, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now we have 20, we have 1. So we can write till 39. Now for 40, as we have discussed, we cannot repeat any Roman numeral 4 times. So again I'll have to use the third rule, that is subtraction. So I'll put x before L. L is 50. So 50 minus 10 will become 40. So always 40 will be written as XL.
So we have learned rules for forming Roman numerals and also how to write Roman numerals from 1 to 40. Thank you.